and that's enough of that. Any more than a few seconds, and I'll get a copyright claim. But that's Taylor Swift Fortnite featuring Post Malone. One of the few Taylor Swift songs that I really like. Like my wife, she's a Swifty fan. She loves everything, but this is dope. She was actually surprised that I like that song, but it's good. Anyway, upward and onward. Uh, it's late night, but I still want to do some philosophy as I promised I would do this week. Haven't done much because I haven't been on for 2 days. Then the previous day, I was talking about Martin Luther King Day and the presidential inauguration. And then the night before that, I actually started in philosophy where I was talking about whether technology ethics had a real impact on, on how we constrain our thoughts or moral behavior. Any case, it didn't get into the depth that I wanted it to, so we're moving on. And what we're moving on to is more philosophy. So it's late night, so I'm calling this my late night philosophy bull session. Um, when I say bull session, I'm not talking about bull-ish. Bull session is like something that pretty sure every college student has done at one point, where they just up late at night shooting the breeze about some sort of academic or intellectual matter, whether it's because they were studying or they just, you know, had a little bit of wacky tobacco and they feel like waxing philosophical. It's all good either way. So I'm inviting all sorts of philosophical quandaries. Cam 2013 says hello. What's up? Um, I specifically want to talk about morality, but I'm open to any sort of philosophical questions. Bear in mind, I do have a background in this, so I know some people will think that philosophy encompasses anything, but it doesn't. Well, kind of does, but there are rules to it. Marissa says hello. What's up, Marissa? T Man says, "Aren't you old for Marvel and cartoons, brother?" No. Was Stan Lee too old for Marvel? Guess not. So I hate when people try to age check someone on what their interests are. Like what you like. I'll like what I like. I don't give, and we call it that way. I had to check on what I was going to say. Besides that, I can like whatever I want because at the end of the day, I can fight, and I'm a vet, so you can't stop me. Telling an army vet what he can and can't do ain't gonna go well for you because I can do whatever the fuck I want because I can fight. I'm a nerd who can fight. I'm the worst type of nerd because I can talk shit and I can fuck you up. But moving on, and I, if you think fighting nerds is unusual, it actually is not. And I'm just black, bro. Elijah says, "Are you Asian?" I'm just black. Marissa says, "I'm 23 and I still watch cartoons and Marvel." Right. So in any case, like I said, a lot of nerds can fight because some of the smartest people were also warriors. Your boy Socrates, did you know that your boy Socrates was a hoplite? A hoplite was a Athenian citizen soldier. Not only was he known for basically being the founder of Western civilization and starting the Socratic method, he was a war hero during the Peloponnesian Wars. Yes, he even one of his best friends was a general that he saved by the name of Alcibiades, who became one of his most loyal friends up until his very death, where he actually pleaded with Socrates to flee Athens because he didn't want his best friend to die. This is a man he saved in wartime, and he had multiple uh, he was recognized as a war hero in multiple battles during the Peloponnesian Wars against Sparta. So not only was he consulted on philosophy throughout his life, he was also consulted on military strategy. And this was a man who fought up until his 40s. He's the one of the founders of Western civilization. Another, the founder of modern philosophy, Rene Descartes, from which we get Cartesian philosophy and pretty much philosophy as we know it today. He was also a part of, he was an engineer in the army for Denmark. So a lot of us philosophical nerds can beat your ass. So anyway, just wanted to say that. Best side says where you from? From Maryland. Tariani says hi. Lola says I might be quitting YouTube today or tomorrow. Brian says this Asian man is going crazy right now. Oh yeah, get Asian. Do I look Asian to you guys? I assure you I'm black. Catherine says they hey contrarian. What's up, Cat? Oh, Cat. I was gonna tell you and Moonlit that my friend in India has agreed to come onto the stream. So I'm gonna need all of you guys to help me out to moderate the chat. Um, I don't want to give her name away just yet, but she's an acid attack survivor I was mentioning before 2 weeks ago. So she's agreed to come on the stream. But I'm gonna need my moderators to control the trolls because I don't want people trying to attack her for her looks. Because as an acid attack survivor, she still bears the scars of that when she survived the attack as an infant. So I'm gonna need all hands on deck to help me with that if you guys don't mind. Marissa said, Brian, he said he's not Asian. I really don't get where people think I'm Asian. The, the, do I look Asian without the glasses? Like, I've never heard that I look Asian before. Well, I have a Chinese friend. He said I look like I can be Blasian, which is funny because my mother's friend, before he passed away, he used to always make fun of my mom and say she looked like a Korean war baby. But I don't think I look Asian. My wife is Asian, but no, he said my bad. Thought he said he was. I don't. No, I definitely didn't see that. Cass is awesome. Thank you. Lieutenant B says big scary eyes. Okay. Uh, NF says hi. Kat says if it's my Tuesday or Thursday, I'm working, so won't be available. Been really busy over the past 3 weeks. No problem. I didn't. I'm gonna let you guys know in advance what day it's going to be. I'll DM you because I'm gonna set it up so that I give people like several days ahead the viewers so they can know to tune in for it. That way they can hit their notifications to know when I'm gonna do that live stream with her. Because I'm actually gonna bring her to America as well, so that she can do. My friend and I are gonna try to bring her here as a guest speaker, either uh, at my alumni um, institution, my university uh, that I went to undergrad, or um, at a group in that area where the campus is. Harith says hi. I'm from Malaysia. What's up, Harith? I've been to Kuala Lumpur, so I plan on going back as well. The wife was back just last year. Well, she was in Singapore and then she crossed through Singapore into Malaysia into Kuala Lumpur. I think she got to go to the Batu caves because I told her she should do that. I think she went. I'm trying to remember. I'll have to ask her if she did. But I told her she should definitely check out the Batu caves because I want to do it when I come back. Uh, Kaja has Hussein says hello. How are you? I'm from Kerala. What's up? And that says recognize me. I'm a rapper that makes fire beats. Sorry, I'm unfamiliar. Castle's cool. It's my Saturday at the moment. All right, it was my Saturday too, but it's your Saturday. Well, it's later Saturday than it is here for you for me. Nate says you look like RuPaul. You think you got me confused with your father. Um. Anyway, and F says I'm in Michigan. That's cool. So where was I when I started? So I was getting into, like I said, we can get into like philosophy. Barbershop Fiend says ICE is doing nothing wrong. That's random. I agree, but that's random. Um, and if we're not checking out your song, you gotta drop a super chat here. If that's the thing. So if you don't come into someone's live stream to promote yourself, you need to drop a super chat. That's generally how it works amongst content creators. That is the gentlemanly thing to do. Like if I come onto your live stream and I want to either promote my channel or some other talent or service that I provide, I'm going to drop a super chat in your stream to show my appreciation to you for allowing me to promote myself on your platform. So you should do the same. Just FYI, because if you go to other people's chat room, I mean to other people's live streams, you know. But anyway, so I got off starting talking about as far as being a nerd, how some of the most smartest nerds were actually uh, military trained and athletic. But he said, I don't know what you mean, but okay. I'm saying, so if you're in someone's live stream and you're promoting yourself, like you say you're a rapper and you want people to listen to your music, you sh- the gentlemanly thing to do is if you're in someone live stream and you're introducing yourself, you should drop a super chat. For one, that shows respect to the content creator that you're not just shamelessly promoting yourself in someone's stream. And two, when you do a super chat, everyone can see it. So it actually helps you because once you do a super chat, it highlights whatever you say so that everyone can see what you're doing. And you know, as a favor to you, what I would do is once you drop a super chat, I will pin your info to the chat room wall so that everyone can see it. What's up, Moonlit? What's up, brother? What's going on? Oh, I got a question for you too, bro. Because I saw this on Facebook earlier. So I think there's some contention right now between Marines and Army. Who has the sexier dress uniform? Because the Army a few years ago went back to the pink and greens from the World War II era, which used to be let's 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 be honest. The pink and greens were a panty dropper. But the Marines dress blue. I mean, let's be honest. The dress blue has always probably been like the best military dress uniform like ever. But I was saying, hey, I think the pink and greens are actually a good contender for the best dress uniform. Even though I would say the Marines had it for like the last 40 years, I think the pink and greens are possibly a good contender. Barbershop Fiend says NF is whack for that. True that, bro. Like I tried to be like, good with him and say, hey, bro, you can, promote yourself. Just you know, show some love so it can be reciprocated. That's all I said. Guys, what's V-Bucks? Is that a thing? I don't even know. Barbershop things is enough. You can't rap enough. Cat says so is mummy. LOL. Captain says blue wins. All right, that's fair. But Cat, have you seen the blue? Have you seen the pink and greens though? That's what I'm saying. I know you say the blue wins, but have you seen the pink and greens? I'm not talking about the Army Class A uniforms. Those have, I think those have been DX. Like I think, I'm not sure. I think they might still wear the Class A's, but they've been they've been supplanted by the pink and greens, which was that if you seen how the army dress uniform back in World War II era, those were the pink and greens, and those came back like I'm gonna say like 8 years ago, maybe more, eight, somewhere between 10 and 8 years ago. The pink and greens came back, and I'm I'm gonna say that they are equal to the Marine Blues. I know it's controversial, but I'm gonna say the blue. I'm gonna say they're equal. Moon says, I'd say Marines got good snipers, but I BDUs win all day. Well, not the BDUs. I'm not so so the Army BDUs now they call them the what they call them the Army ACUs. Um, uh, they call them ACUs now, Army Combat Uniforms. So they DX the BDUs from back in the day. Because remember, it all started back in like 2006 when the Marines changed their BDUs to the new all um, what you call it, all camo whatever uniform. And so every other branch started doing exactly what the Marines did and changed their uniform. So we all wear the ACUs now. But I'm talking about the dress uniform. So like around it was somewhere around like 2016, I think around 2016, 2017, when the army decided to go back to the pink and greens for some reason. Someone higher up said, "You know what would look good? Go back to the World War II era uniform dress uniforms," and it got signed off on it. And the pink and greens are dope. Oh, she said no. Yeah, you got so you gotta look you gotta do a quick Google look at them. This has gotta be loyal to Army. Cat stop. Have you seen Contrarian with his shirt off? No, did he? Wait. Oh yeah, I was about to say when did I have my shirt off? Oh, that's right. I forgot I did have my shirt off in a few. Well, in that members only video, I have my shirt off, and there's one where I do like a YouTube short where I come out of the shower, not like that, not naked, but but I'm shirtless and I'm just like throwing like elbows to dry off, and that was like a good way to dry off. It's just like the shadow box for a few minutes when you get out the shower, and so I'm like throwing like elbows and stuff. Cass says, "LOL." Mona says, "Y'all hit the super chat." Cat says, "Gay." Cat no Diddy, bruh. Right. LA fires burning on Diddy. Yo, they made a joke about that too. They was like, man, once that wildfire hit Diddy's mansion, because one his LA, they said his LA mansion did burn in a wildfire. They was like, man, once that wildfire hit the Diddy's mansion with all that fucking 1,000 bottles of oil, they was like, it was over for LA. Man, man. Oh, that's messed up. But everyone, people are trying to blame it on the climate change or whatever, but the evidence has been pointing to an arsonist, which is very likely the case. It's just the arsonist was helped by the conditions of heavy winds, but shit. Hope Kevin Spacey isn't still in Hollywood because we don't want any of them little boys trapped in his attic to burn up in his house. If he's if he's Cat says sorry, blue still wins. Did you? That's fine if you say blue still wins, but at least did you check out the pink and greens though? That's all I'm asking. Fontaine says hola. Hey May says for real. Abo Hassan says you listen to music. Of course, everyone listens to music. I don't listen to it too often, but yeah. Melissa says facts. Spacey was with Epstein. Fontaine says only blue cities, no blue states. I don't get what you mean. California is both a blue state and LA is a blue city. So I don't get that. So San Francisco, Oakland, can I play someone here? I can't because I'm gonna get copyrighted. Now I would play music that would get me copyrighted if people were willing to drop a super chat. But if people aren't going to drop a super chat, I'm not going to play copyrighted music because that means my live stream will get demonetized. What I will do though is I'll play actually, if you came in the first 5 seconds, I was playing Taylor Swift Fortnite, but I only played 5 seconds of it. What I will do is I'll play some lo-fi music in the background, but I'm not gonna play anything with lyrics because it'll get copyrighted. And the only way the only way I get money from these videos is through the monetization. So if they're not monetized, I have to get it through donations, and I'm not gonna beg people for donations. So I'll just keep my videos monetized. He said, "What if I donate a cent? It'll have to be more than a cent, my friend. You're gonna have to double that. You're gonna have to multiply that cent by like at least 100." uh, Cass says yes, but didn't see the pink in the uniform. Well, it's not actual pink, and they call them pink and greens because the pink was in the women's uniform, not in the guys' uniform. But they call them the pink and the greens. That's just the name of them. They call them the pink and the greens. But the guys' uniform doesn't have pink in it. That's just the name of it. It's it's an army thing. Melissa says no, okay. He's talking about our BDUs. No, not the battle dress uniform. Only the dress uniforms, not the combat uniforms. So like we used to have the class A's and the class B's. Oh, what a lot of people don't know is that the army also has dress blues as well. But I'm gonna be completely honest and say our dress blues don't compete with the Marines dress blues. But the army does actually have dress blue uniforms. Um, but you don't too often see people wearing them. Probably the only people you're gonna see wearing like dress blues are probably like commissioned officers. You're not gonna really see enlisted wearing those too often. But we do have dress blues as well. But when I'm talking about the pink and greens and the Marines dress blue uniforms, I'm talking about the dress uniforms, which are our those are our fancy outfits, not our everyday outfits. Unless you work in the office, some people, depending on their MOS, they have to wear their class uniforms every day, either because they're an officer or they work in a professional setting, even as an enlisted. But most people wear their their combat their ACUs, their Army combat uniform, and everyday, in their everyday garrison thing. Melissa says, I won't say pink. It just depends on the era or deployment. Yeah. What was this exactly? Dude actually said a cent. That's that's funny. Um, Cat says you ain't playing Moonlit. I appreciate it, but yeah, the pink. So people are getting confused. So I'm gonna have to explain some army history and army history and slang to everyone. So I thought I just did. So guys, in the military, we have a bunch of different uniforms to wear. The Out of all of us, I think the Navy has the most diversity in their uniforms. Okay, so I'm not gonna even try to touch on the Navy because pause, but because they have so many different uniforms, I can't keep up with them. Some of them they have like the denim uniforms, then they have the dress whites. Some some people think the dress whites are the best looking, but most people will overwhelmingly say the Marines dress blue uniforms. So when I say dress uniforms, guys, that's basically like our suit and tie uniform. These are uniforms that are basically like suit and tie type outfits, like dress shoes, dress pants, dress shirt, suit jacket. Those are dress uniforms. Every branch has their dress uniforms, right? Where our everyday uniforms are called maybe our battle dress uniforms or combat uniforms, whatever. Now it depends. Now some people, if depending on the setting, they may have to wear dress uniforms daily instead of wearing their combat uniforms, especially if they work in like a medical setting or a legal setting. Like if you're like JAG, Judge Advocate, which stands for Judge Advocate Generals, those are basically the lawyers of the military. Or if you work in the medical field or uh, or some other professional field within the military, they might have to wear dress uniforms every day, which is again your suit and tie uniforms. Whereas everyone else, they wear the camo combat uniforms every day. Okay, and there's even diversity amongst that. I'm gonna keep it simple though. But each so every branch has different dress uniforms, and some of them are considered sexier than others by women. Okay, some women like the dress white uniforms of the Navy, but most women think the dress blues of the Marines are the sexy ones. Um, and then the Army for the longest had these class class A, class B uniforms that were dress green, and by far they were the ugliest. They were the ugliest dress uniforms of all the military. I'm going to be completely frank. But turning around 9 years ago, the the chair of the army decided they wanted to reintroduce the classic World War II era suit and tie uniforms that the army wore back in the 40s and 50s, which are called pink and greens. So that's what they went back to. And what I've been saying is that a lot of women seeing guys in their dress in blue, excuse me, in their pink and greens, it turns their heads. Like they're used to seeing like the Marines in their outfits, but a lot of them haven't seen Army in their pink and greens until recently. And like when you let's be honest, some of our grandparents and grand uncles used to look smooth as shit in those old World War II and Korean War photos with their dress uniforms on. They look smooth. This is why they had babies overseas. They look smooth. And the army was like, yeah, we need to go back to that. So that's what I'm talking about, guys. And if you're still confused, because I can't really describe what the pink and greens look like, so to speak, other than if you've ever seen a World War II era movie, then you might have seen them. Captain America, maybe, but um, Google it and you'll know what the pink and greens are. Sorry for that long expose on that. I had to explain because everyone's getting confused from looking at the chat room. Fontaine says, "What happens if you lose your shoes in the army? You don't. You for one, you have two pairs of everything. So if you lose one pair, you get another, and then you you automatically get more. You like routinely DX your older clothing for newer clothing because you can't wear stuff in disrepair because you're considered out of uniform if you're wearing a uniform that's in disrepair. So you'll always have two pairs of everything in the military Fontaine because what we say is two is one and one is none. So you're always going to have two pairs of everything in the military because of our golden rule: two is one is none. Um, from one list says that's why we say brothers in arms. We a different branch. Listen, Catherine says service uniforms. Yes, yeah. Fontaine says you got dog tag on. Yeah. Kat says yeah. Blue does it for me. Well, she's simplified, guys, but she's never seen a guy in his pink and greens. She no diddy, but you get some dude straight out of Ranger School wearing his pink and greens. Oh, Ray, what's up, man? He said, "Hey, brother, simplify. What's going on, bro?" Um, like, some of these dudes are way out of pocket at night. Mullen says, "Ray, speak with respect." No, Ray, no Ray, no Mullen. Ray's a good dude. He's always been a good dude on here. He's a fellow vet like us. He's Marine. Ray, so I don't know how much you were here, but I was basically saying that I think that the Army pink and greens is a contender to the Marine dress blues. That was what I was saying, but that's not the overall discussion today. That's just my little diversion. Let me actually get back to the crux of this chat, which was I was saying this is a late night philosophy bowl session, which is basically like try to stump me with anything you guys are thinking about. This veers on the philosophical. I was one of the things I was going to bring up on my own was talking about morality and politics. I'm only says, "Hey Ray, what y'all make us go in and pick y'all up?" I'm joking. So, oh, speaking of which, the Marines are headed down to the south, headed to the border. Uh, we're headed to the border today, so it's going down. They if they got the Marines helping out border control, they're not joking. They're not joking down there. They sent the Marines down to the border. They need it too because you know. So Trump has already classified the Mexican drug cartels as terrorist organizations. That way, he can weaponize the military against them. And let's be clear. When I say he's going to weaponize the military against the cartels, I'm talking about special forces. We're talking about we're talking about special forces when he's saying we're going to weaponize the military against these terrorist organizations, which are drug and it's true. They are de facto terrorist organizations. They function in almost the same capacity. Like if people don't know, a lot of the ways that the Muslim uh, terrorist organizations in the Middle East fund themselves is through drug trafficking, which is basically what the drug cartels do in northern Mexico. They run these regions of North Mexico as their own like warlords, and they fund that activity through their drug trafficking. So Marines are going down there, but when it comes to there's always this uh, people always want to know the difference between the Marine infantry and the Army infantry. Well, for one thing, I will say the Marines are a little bit ahead of the average Army soldier because in the Marines, every Marine has to be a rifleman. Every Marine is expected to be a rifleman. That's not the same in the Army. Not, um, I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone in the Army still has to qualify with their weapon, which is currently the M4, which is like a, a more it's like a lighter version of the old M16A2. But yeah, we always had, we had to qualify with our weapons to be at least like at a sharpshooter level. But every Marine is expected to be a rifleman, so they got that on us. But as far as the difference between infantry, the difference is that the Marines has always been considered an invading force, where the Army is considered an occupying force. Which, if you look at the infrastructure of both infantries, they're very similar. But the biggest difference is, like, usually the Marines are sent in first to clear to clear the path, and then afterwards the Army is sent in to hold that position. So that's sort of the difference. And there's a lot. I'm overgeneralizing a bit, but generally that's the difference. The Marines are an invading force. They're sent in first to clear a path. Then the Army is the occupying force. They're sent in afterwards to hold that position. But obviously that doesn't. There's differences. That's, you're only talking about conventional military. Once you talk about the unconventional forces, which is, there's three tiers of unconventional forces: tier three, tier two, and tier one. Then a lot of that gets murky. Like, with tier three, you're looking at, well, with Army, you're talking about like someone who's like 101st Airborne and 82nd Airborne qualified. And Marines, you're looking at like Force Recon. Okay. Then I can go into different tiers. Then tier two is like Green Beret, a 75th Ranger, and Army, and military Marines. They only have one Special Forces unit, which were made up of originally from Force Recon, um, and they're called the Raiders, the Marine Raiders. And the Marine Special Forces is the only special forces and special operations of the military that you have to be a Marine to become a Marine Raider. Like any of the other special forces and the other different branches of the military, you can come from any branch of the military as long as you're qualified and try out for that uh, for that unit. But the Marine Raiders, you have to be a Marine to become a Marine Raider. So it's very, it fosters a very unique uh, unit where any and everyone there is Marines. And as far as tier one, there aren't any tier one units in the Marines. No, you know, no diss to them. There's three tier one units in the Army. The most famous one, obviously, is the Delta Force, or they call them Detachment One, or or they have other names for them. Um, but anyway, so those are the three tiers of unconventional forces, and then you have your conventional military. Let me get back. Melissa should be Army National Guard. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they got National Guard down there too, though. But there's Marine National Guards as well. Melissa's, well, Special Forces. Yeah, obviously, he said pays better for mercenaries for hire. Well, they might have some contractors down there, like black. What's the contractors used to be called black whatever. Um, but the mili- but the security contractors cost more than the military. Plus, I mean, they'll more than likely have some contractors down there as well. But the bulk of people doing the heavy lifting down there is going to be the military, because that's literally what they're designed to do. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll have some contractors down there. Cass says we need a Trump like leader in Australia, not these weak pussies that are running currently. Well, but you guys do have like a more moderate and conservative voice there that I wasn't aware of, because I'll be watch because sometimes I watch Sky News Australia, and the and it gives me hope for Australia that not everyone there is a bleeding leftist in American terms. When I say leftist, because I know leftist is something different in the UK and Australia, but when I say you get what I mean when I say leftist here, I'm talking about like American liberals, American progressives, and stuff like that, socialists, blah 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 blah. And Melissa, damn, can't tell us how you really feel. And Melissa says they still need a spotter. Cass says I always do. He's exactly right. But we don't leave a man behind, so calm down, chair force and Marines. I'm playing. Now, all love to Marines, Air Force, Navy, um, National Guard, um, the Coast Guard, and Space Force. Coast Guard has special forces too. They actually have like three special forces units. I I forget exactly, because some of them are special ops capable, and then some of them are actual special forces. But I think they have about two or three special forces units within the Coast Guard. Most people don't know that. Like those people who took down those Somalian pirates, everyone thought those were Navy SEALs. That was the Coast Guard that did that. So they Coast Guard can get at it when they want to. And shout out to Space Force. They're the only ones that don't have a special forces, but that's because they'll never get deployed, at least not within our lifetimes, because for them deployment would be out of space. So until until such time we are doing uh space combat, we probably won't have any space force special forces. That can change, we never know. Within 50 years they might make up, we might be having space combat. Unfortunately, I'll be too old to take part in that. Omar says, "Did you like any of the women over there? Did you say it was pretty? Where? What country are you referring to, Omar? I don't remember what country I mentioned. Did you say where I said it was pretty? I've never been to a place where I didn't see pretty women. Well, except for Baltimore, but but now I'm joking. But yeah, I'm not sure where you're referring to. One says Delta Force is amazing. They don't much treat the army well. Well, no, Delta Force is a part of the army. The Delta Force is an outgrowth of the Green Berets. They're basically a tier one. They're a tier one unit out of that come off the Green Berets. Just like within the 75th Rangers, you have a tier one unit called the Ranger Reconnaissance Company or something like that, or RRC. So they're a tier one unit as well. So same thing, like most of the Delta Force comes out of Green Berets, although you don't although Delta Force is unique where you don't have to start off from you Delta Force is unique amongst the special forces units, being the tip of the spear as they call them, that at least they're the tip of the spear for the military, but outside the military that's a whole different discussion. But anyway, within the military, they're the tip of the spear, and they are the only special forces unit I know that you can try out for them without any prior background in the special forces or even in infantry, which is unique. Like most of the other special forces, you have to have a background already within one of the combat MOSs, and um, so yeah, it's quite unique. But like even though, like I said, Delta Force branches out of the Green Berets just the same way as SEAL Team 6, or they call them DevGru now, DevGru or SEAL Team 6 comes out of the Navy SEALs. Delta, Delta Force or Detachment 1 comes out of the Green Berets, and the Ranger Reconnaissance Company comes out of the 75th Rangers. But Delta Force, you don't have to have any prior background in. You don't have to be a Green Beret prior. You don't have to have been an infantry prior. You can shoot straight for them if you want to. Like you can go fresh into the you can go fresh into the military and say, hey, I want to try out for the Delta One detachment. I mean the Detachment One Delta blah 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 blah. They're like, all right. They're like, you're probably not gonna make it, but if you really want to do it, so okay. The reason being is that to have they want the diversity of having people from all sort to have all sorts of unique talents that they can bring to Delta Force, which is what makes them the best. Like if you have if you can bring a unique thing to Delta Force and you can pass the physical requirements, they're willing to take you on. Whereas, like I said, the other ones you got to pay your dues first. So Blackwater said they got a new name. Yeah, they changed their name way back in the early 2000s because of all the flack they were getting for their mismanagement back in during the back during the Persian Gulf War, the second Persian Gulf War. They were catching a lot of flack for their mismanagement and some of the brutality allegedly coming from them. So yeah, they changed their name like 20 years ago, but um, I I still remember them as Blackwater. I don't remember them under their new name. But I mean, they're just yeah. I mean, like you said, they're glorified mercs. Almost as I heard that Ukraine had what he called mercenaries or contract soldiers. I'm sure they do. When the Ukraine war broke out like 3 years ago, like anyone could sign up. Like they were telling Americans if Americans want to go over there and sign up, they could. Like they could literally go over there and get conscripted into the Ukrainian army. I think it's stupid if you did it, but they were willing to take anyone. They were willing to um to conscribe anyone into their military. I don't know if they were mercs though. I'm sure all the billions of dollars that Biden wasted sending to them, they probably did have money to hire mercs, but originally they didn't have money like that. They probably did after Biden sent them hundreds and hundreds of billions of our dollars to those bitches while they were losing a war that they could never win in the first fucking place. But that's neither here nor there. Catherine G says they have no teeth. She's a totally understand. I used to protest against the leftists. Omar says Aman says Afghanistan. Oh, okay, Afghanistan. Are Afghani women prettier? Is that what you're asking me? Yeah, Afghani women are. Um, I'm not gonna say all, but a lot of Afghani people are also of the Desi community. The Desi community, is people who make up what can be considered the subcontinent of India. So Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka. Those all make up, the Desi Indian diaspora. So if you ever seen pretty Indian women, you've seen Afghani women can be very pretty. I haven't I'm trying to say have I met any. I'm pretty sure I probably met some in school, but I haven't dated any. Dated Pakistani and Indian. Speaking of which, I will be having an Indian friend on my live streams probably next week, guys. So be on the lookout for that. She's an acid attack survivor, and she's somewhat of a minor celebrity in India. So it's a big. Uh, she's doing me a huge favor by agreeing to come onto my platform. But I did tell you guys this last year. I said, hey, as I channel grows, expect me to start doing some cool stuff. So Melissa says, Omar, I understand I'm not defending Ukraine, but it's heaps of North Koreans fighting for Russia, and they rather quote unquote delete themselves than die in war or become a POW. Hmm. Melissa says, no one's scared of Afghanis, no offense. Uh, well, I don't know if I agree with that. But here's why. No one can hold down Afghanistan. Every major empire has tried to hold down Afghanistan and they've not done so. I mean, there was the Ottoman Turks, uh, the British Empire, then the Soviet Union, then us. It seems it seems like if you're playing that old board game, I forgot if it's Stratego or if it's the other one. I think Stratego and that other military conquest board game are sort of similar, but I remember every time we played and we started trying to take over the Middle Eastern countries, that's where everything folded. Like we could take over all of North and South America or Africa or Europe and most of Asia and Oceania, but when you tried to conquer the Middle East, everything went into chaos. And Afghanistan is one of those places. Like Afghanistan is like a honey badger. Like you're not taking it down without a fight. Like I said, everyone tried. Every big empire has tried to hold them down, but it ain't worked. Didn't work for the Ottomans, didn't work for the Brits, didn't work for the Soviets, and it didn't work for us. We let go of them back in 2021. Like it let them let the Afghanis do what the Afghanis want to do. Leave them alone. Now, if they get out of pocket like they did in 2001, then yeah, you gotta spank them. But after you spank them, let them go on about their business. Don't try to keep them pigeonholed because they won't stay for long. Catherine says that's effing crazy. She said, yeah, and Aussie lost their life there recently. True. One says Biden funded them heroin addicts. Speaking of heroin addicts, being that I'm, in that I'm in the greater Baltimore area, not in the city itself, um, where we have a bunch of opiate junkies, particularly heroin and fentanyl. Um, if it's not the dumbest thing in the world, and I saw this in Germany too. No offense to Miss Needle if she's watching, but the dumbest thing in the world is why would you make taxpayers? Why would you spend taxpayer money to give free drugs to addicts? That should never made sense to me. Yes, I get it. Supplying them with the syringes and all that is safer, keeps down the spreads of AIDS and other diseases, and keeps them from getting a hot dose. I get it. And doing these little rehab programs where they substitute the heroin for the methadone, but they get high off the methadone. On top of that, I mean, the sickest thing I've heard is where you know these dudes will go and take the methadone, then they will spit it up and then sell it to other people. I'm not joking. They call it spit up because that's literally what it is. They spit up the medicine and give it to other junkies. So you just transformed them from heroin or fentanyl to methadone, and you're giving it to them for free. And everywhere there's a methadone clinic is like one of the worst places to be because you always have these fucking zombies. Like these motherfuckers won't be out at 5 o'clock to go look for a job, but they'll be promptly at the methadone clinic at 5 o'clock to get their free fucking drugs. That is the worst one of the worst users of taxpayer money up until the time they start paying illegal immigrants. I don't know which is worse. You guys can tell me in the chat room. Which is worse? Giving addicts free drugs, giving and you can call it like giving them free syringes and swapping out methadone for heroin and fentanyl. You're giving them free drugs for you're rewarding addicts with free drugs. Like you you don't have to be P.F. Skinner or Ivan Pavlov to see why that's a problem. You don't have to have any training in behavioral conditioning to understand why giving addicts free drugs is a problem. So I don't know if that's worse or the fact that we were housing illegal immigrants, housing them and giving them thousands of dollars worth of EBT cash and food supplement uh, food supplement. Like we're rewarding like why are we rewarding people for doing stuff we don't want them to do? That doesn't make sense. That goes against everything we know about behavioral conditioning and behavioral psychology. You don't reward bad behavior. I don't know. That should be common sense, but sorry about that. Kat says Moonlit, he funded a lot of dodgy ish. Look at all the pre-pardon writs that he did during Trump's inauguration speech. I know he pardoned his whole family, Kat. It's like if your family didn't do anything wrong, why are you giving them pardons? Because you think that the opposing party will go after them, which sounds like you're projecting because that's pretty much what you did to Trump. His whole your Biden's whole 4 years, he went after him through what we call lawfare. So the only reason you preemptively pardon your entire family and bitch ass Anthony Fauci and others is because you're projecting what you would do in his stead, that you would pursue lawfare against these folks if you were in his shoes. So Omar said, "Wow, that's horrible. In Bangladesh, a lot of men will throw acid on a woman if they refuse to date them." So yeah, so Omar, in the case of my friend, what she told me, and she's going to talk about it, hopefully, is that her father threw acid on her and her mother when she was an infant because the father was mad that she was a girl and not a boy, which is the sickest thing I've ever heard. Like, well, it's the second sickest thing I've heard other than in China. Oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Well, in another country bordering India, it was known that 200 million female babies had been taken through infanticide because apparently doing the one child policy of this one country. I hope I don't get demonetized. But anyway, because of this country's former one child policy, now they have a three-child one because they are suffering a population decline. But anyway, prior to that, their population decline is their own complete fault. But anyway, through their one child policy, since you only have one child unless you live like out in the country somewhere where there was less likely for them to check up on the status of your family. A lot of these people, if they had a female child, they would commit infanticide because if they only have one child, they preferred a boy. And this is why there's more men in their population than women. So they're actually recruiting females in neighboring countries. When I say recruiting them, I mean they are kidnapping them and forcing them into sex slavery. Yeah. So anyway, let me get off that before I get demonetized, which probably already did, but whatever. Because I said the word. But getting off of that, that was a fact I learned like 24 years ago, is that country had mass infanticide of female babies because of the one child policy there. So I don't know if that's more cruel, or the fact that a lot of these Indian men will commit acid attacks for different reasons. Like I said, in the case of my friends, it's because she was born simply because she was born a girl and he wanted a boy. So he threw acid on her and her mother. The mother died and he was taken to prison. So she was raised in the orphanage, and she still has the scars of the acid attack to this day, similar to the one that everyone might have known uh, from like probably like 15 years ago, Malala, who actually won I think she won a Nobel Peace Prize. So this my friend is similar to Malala, but not as well known as Malala. Um, Actually, I got them confused when I first talked to her, because I was like, oh my god, isn't this the celebrity? And then I realized, oh no, she's a similar celebrity, but much a little bit less well known than Malala is. So, almost as who was the last leader of Afghanistan? Um, I forgot the last Afghani president, but he fled his country in 2021 like the little bitch that he was. Basically, as soon as American military forces decided we were leaving, the Afghani government completely gave up, and the president fled to Europe like a bitch. And I'm not joking. My thing is, look, if we held down your government, if we made sure that your government was operational for literally 20 years, for literally 20 years, why weren't you able, like, we held Taliban away and these other forces for 20 years? You in 20 years you should have been able to establish a formidable army. Like our American military forces literally trained them, and they literally folded as soon as they found out we were going to pull out of Afghanistan. As soon as we told them, their president fled. And it's like, you so the complete lack of leadership, like everything folded like a deck of cards. Like, when your own president flees the country, like, what confidence does the rest of everyone else have to hold it down? Like, if you're the Autobots, the Decepticons attack, and Optimus Prime says, "I'm getting the fuck out of here." Transform and roll the fuck out. So, who else is going to hold it down? Bumblebee, Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, retarded ass Grimlock. Nah. So as soon as he fled the country, they folded like a deck of cards. Taliban came right in, like, "What's up, bitch?" It's like, we gave you 20 years to get on your feet. If you can't get on your feet within 20 years, you never were going to get on your feet. I'm sorry. Someone gives you 20 years to get on your feet, whether it's militarily, financially, academically, physically, in any capacity. If you can't be on your own within 20 years of constant assistance and support, you're just never going to be able to do so. So, Melissa says the game was called Risk, right? Because I always get Risk and Stratego confused. Moment, thank you. And I don't know if you ever played Risk, but like I said, every time me and my friends play Risk, everything folded once we start trying to take the countries in the Middle East. It don't matter how many other parts of the world we conquered on Risk. We could have, like, I could have taken all of North and South America and Europe and still lose the game, just once we added the Middle East into it. Like, and I'm not even joking. Like I said, you I don't care if you took North America, South America, Europe, Australia, maybe even Africa. Take all those places. As soon as it gets into the Middle East, you're going to lose that game, which is like not too far from the truth of reality, right? Moon says the Middle East outside of a game have been fighting for years. We didn't need to stick our nose there. However, we don't indulge in y'all debauchery, so back up, be humble. Well, the reason that we're involved obviously is because of, well, let's be blunt, oil and natural gas, and other strategic things going on there as well. So I'm shooting above my pay grade talking about that, but but between fossil fuels and some national security things is why we're gonna always have an ongoing interest in what happens in the Middle East. Omar says exactly zombies. Yep. Omar says I think that mental health should be focused on more than you giving somebody free drugs. Yeah. So I'll be honest. I'll be fair. Some of the methadone clinics they do also incorporate therapy there of some sort, like behavioral therapy or group therapy, something like that. But again, the problem is you're rewarding people with the very thing you want them to stop doing, which doesn't make sense. Like rewarding an addict with drugs doesn't, with access to free drugs doesn't make sense. It, you know, Mona says it's scary driving in Chicago or Philly or Baltimore. It's the Walking Dead amplified. Yeah, like particularly in Baltimore, it's downtown Baltimore where it looks like that. Like downtown Baltimore, early in the morning, it's scary. So this is when I started where this is when I started carrying my having my EDC weapons on me every day. It's when I started working in Baltimore, downtown Baltimore, and oh no, even before I started working in downtown Baltimore, I used to commute all the way out to the other side of Baltimore County, but I had to come through the city to get there on the train, and it was just hell. Especially this was like right around the Freddie Gray riots and all of that. That's when I started carrying EDC weapons on me every day. Was around that time I had to commute through Baltimore to get to my office out in the suburbs, and then there was like the Freddie Gray riots and all this other crazy shit going on. And even before the Freddie Gray riots, it was still trifling downtown, but that made it worse. Mona says I agree, Omar. Cass says, yeah, totally agree. Contrary, my friends are super pissed about it. Mona says, thank you for calling Fauci a bitch ass. He is. The dude's been fugazi since the AIDS epidemic, but I'm not gonna even get into that one. But he he doesn't deserve his credentials. I'll say that much. I'll give him his respect for being an expert in infectious diseases, but as a bureaucrat, he is a some some scientists don't need to be given administrative roles. They need to stick to just doing research, and vice versa. There's some people who are better at the administrative stuff than doing the scientific research. He he's he sucks. And giving him a preemptive pardon. And notice his pardon doesn't extend throughout his whole career. It extends to you know where his preemptive pardon starts from? It starts from around 2014 when President Obama himself forbade um, gain of function research in the US, which means, which would imply that maybe Fauci was still gain of function research when he wasn't supposed to be doing so. Maybe. And Mullen says we don't speak about C. Right. Yeah. Please remind me not to use the C word. Cass says, yeah, too many men to women ratio serves them right. Ryan Dan Roth says, what's up, by the way? I don't think I've seen you on here before. He said, demographic collapse. It's happening to every developed country, but it's happening to that country you're talking about the fastest, apparently. So the worst, so the worst out of all of them, Ryan, is actually South Korea, and second is Japan. But the reason why is but I think you have to look at it the relative numbers versus the absolute numbers. I think it's happening so much more rapidly in South Korea and Japan because they have smaller population numbers to begin with, whereas the other country that I can't mention has a population of 1.2 billion. So even though they're suffering a huge population decline, theirs isn't as drastic as South Korea and Japan just because they started off with a higher absolute number as per capita anyway, as far as their general population. But you're right that it is happening in all developed countries. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is mathematically, it shouldn't be happening to them because they were again a population of 1.2 billion. They had the largest population on the planet up until about 5 years ago when India supplanted them. India has India now has the largest general population at 1.4 billion. And again, the reason being is because of that other country's um, social engineering that they've done. The one child policy killed their population, and so to speak. Like if they didn't have that one child policy, even with the general population decline of every developed country going on, it wouldn't be affecting them that much. America, we are actually suffering that as well. The difference is we had the largest influx of immigrants of any country, which is why the our population decline is hidden because we're always being refreshed with an influx of migrants. Most of these other countries are pretty um, homogenous and don't accept a lot of foreigners into their countries as citizens and permanent residents to 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 repopulate their declining their declining societies. Catherine says kidnapping, and Mula says is the truth though, fam. It really is. Like there are women being stolen from countries in Southeast Asia to into that particular country. And there's certain ethnic minorities within that country that are being forced as well. Can't mention them because it'll, you know, trigger the algorithm. Uyghurs. But yeah, Mullen says you spitting facts. He says it's happening in Thailand too, in the Philippines. I know there's some human trafficking going on in the Philippines and Thailand. Yep, very well aware. Catherine says, well, Islam has infiltrated India pretty heavily, and they are known to behave abhorrently towards women. See, with that, I'm not going to give that to Islam though. They, I'm not going to give Hindus that uh, yeah, when because here's the problem. Yes, there is a lot of human trafficking and slavery in Islamic countries, but the majority of people in India are Hindu. This is part of the reason of the this is one of the reasons for the partition of India in the first place was when Great Britain was pulling out pause it further it it further like fumed the flames of this division between the majority Hindus and Muslims, and Gandhi couldn't work it out with them, so they decided to go their own ways, and that's where you get the great partition of India into West Pakistan and East Pakistan, and then later on, West Pakistan and East Pakistan had a falling out as well, and that became Bangladesh and Pakistan. But I'm not gonna blame that on Muslims, because if you look at Burma, everyone else calls it Myanmar, but both the British and America, we still call it Burma to show that we don't agree with the military junta there. I don't want to speak too badly of that place because one of me and my wife may be going there soon. So anyway, but I'm still going to call it Burma. But anyway, so in Myanmar, aka Burma, um, amongst the civil war and stuff that's going on, there has been ethnic cleansing going on, but it's not who you think it is. It's not the Muslims. It's, wait for it. Well, I've said this before, but some people may find it surprising. It's the Buddhists. The Buddhists have been ethnically cleansing the Muslims of Burma. These Everyone thinks no, not Buddhists. They're the peace loving. Not every Buddhists are like that. I think most of the Buddhists in Burma are Theravada Buddhists, and they are very militaristic. Most of the Myanmar military are made up of this sect of Buddhists, and they have been ethnically cleansing the Muslims there. But you don't hear about that stuff because everyone just cares about Palestine, right? But anyway, yeah. So I'm not going to blame the problems of India on Muslims, since the majority of Muslims live in Pakistan and Bangladesh, whereas the majority of people in India are Hindu, but there's also Christians, Jews, Muslims, and Buddhists in India. So I like my friend who's the acid attack survivor. Her family was Hindu, not her family was Hindu, not Muslim. So Omar says, "Wow, that's funny." He's talking about something earlier, guys, not what I just mentioned. Amon says that's why borders need to be handled. LOL, my guy said Bumblebee. Cass says the rats in the sewer come out and take over. He says, "Say less, I know, fam." Moon says, for those who don't know, everyday carry is what he's saying. Oh yeah, that's what I meant. When I say EDC, guys, I mean everyday carry items. Um, and I have three of them that I take with me everywhere. Um, so one, I always take a pocket knife. Is my army service knife. Uh, Tactical pen. It's an actual pen. It just has a glass break on it, um, and it's durable, so you can use it sort of like a Cubaton, but it's more useful than a Cubaton. A Cubaton is like a waste of money. Although I do have a Cubaton because I just wanted one, but and a tactical flashlight, so it can blind you, and it has a beveled edge, so you can hit someone with it as well. And you just should have a flashlight on you anyway. So those are my three EDC items. Well, my every the ones that I'll take everywhere. Now, the other ones I have depend on the situation. I also have like a flashlight stun gun, ballad song, just a Filipino butterfly knife, brass knuckles. Excuse me. Um, Sometimes I might have like a little mini fixed blade or dagger or uh, karambit, whatever, some sort of fixed blade knife. And I don't have a concealed carry, so I don't take that with me anywhere. Which we know what I'm talking about when I say concealed carry weapon, right? So I don't have a concealed carry permit yet, so I don't take that with me anywhere, assuming I have something to take. But I've, my friends keep telling me to go get my concealed carry since I'm a veteran. I'm considering it since I didn't plan on being here to 2025. I had planned on leaving here about 3 years ago. Melissa says, "Question, fam. What's going to take to open that third eye? No Diddy, huh? Me? Third third eye? I, I don't know." Melissa says, "I want to question you, but if you're religious, then it's Burma. Be careful, it's genocide against Muslims." Well, you talking to me? You know, I'm not religious. I mean, well, aside that I have Saint Michael on my dog tags, but that's because he's the patron saint of the armed forces. But I'm not religious at all. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to talk too badly against Burma. I'm talking badly against it merely by calling it Burma. I should be calling it Myanmar because, again, someone within my relationship, either I or my wife, may be headed there uh, in a few weeks, and that's only because we did some research and I found out that it would be safe to go to Yangon. Yangon is actually, even though they're mired in civil war right now, Yangon is pretty safe, and so is another city, which we thought was, even if Yangon was safe, we thought the other places weren't. So we found Yangon and another really great place in Burma that are safe to venture. And plus, I would really like to take Lethway, just like when I was in the Philippines, and I mean, sorry, when I was in Thailand and took a seminar, Muay Thai seminar at Venom Training Camp. I would love to go to one of the training camps in Burma and take Lethway. For people who don't know, Lethway is Burmese boxing. It's similar to Thai boxing, and actually, some people in Burma claim that the origins of Muay Thai come from Burma. But every country in the Southeast tries to claim Muay Thai as being from them because Muay Thai is the most popular sport in Northeast Asia. So Cambodia tries to claim that Muay Thai comes from Cambodia as well, and claims that Kam Kimmer is the same thing as Muay Thai. And the Muay Thai Boxing Association said, "No, the fuck, we're not." And left way has noticeable differences. It's more brutal. Left way fighting is bare knuckled, and they allow headbutts. Muay Thai does not allow headbutts, and it's not done bare knuckled. Although there's a traditional Muay Thai that does bare knuckle, that's not the majority. The majority is with gloves through because they incorporated Western boxing into the sport back in the early 1900s to modernize the sport. Um, Leftway does use boxing gloves, but a lot of it is known to be bare knuckled, and they do headbutts. And I'm gonna be honest, they're they are not as skilled as Thai boxers. It's they're more brutal, but they're not as skilled. Now, particular Burmese boxers may be more talented than other Thai boxers individually, but collectively, Thai boxers tend to be better than them. Of course, there are some Lethway fighters who train in both Lethway and Muay Thai, so they're probably very proficient. Just like there are some people in Cambodia that train that probably perform in both Muay Thai and Kun Khmer, which is also called Pradal Saray, which is Cambodian boxing. The difference between Cambodian boxing and Thai boxing is that Cambodian boxers concentrate more on their. I think their kicking is a little bit more stylistic. No, I'm sorry, no. So with Cambodian boxing, there's more of an emphasis on elbows than in Muay Thai, but they don't clinch as they Muay Thai. What separates it from other styles, including kickboxing, is it's the emphasis on clinching, which is like stand up grappling, which is why the all is an all round good self defense sport, self defense art as well, because of the clinching aspect. It teaches you how to end fight. There's not too much clinching going on in Cambodian boxing. So anyway, Catherine says I was talking more about the acid attacks on women and girls. Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's not a Muslim thing, Cat. That's an Indian thing. Unfortunately, like I said, that's an Indian thing. That's not really a Muslim thing. Because like I said, my friend who's an acid attack survivor, they weren't Muslim. They were Hindu. And if I had to guess, I would actually say it's more common in with with Desi people, particularly Hindus. So Moon says horribly awful, yeah. Rudy says Lazan says I packed 9 millimeter Sig. What sort of 6 hour? The P365, which is I think that's probably the favorite of most people with the P365. Don't don't nail me to all the specific models and nomenclature because I do not know. I don't know that stuff because it'll be like the 9 millimeter 6 hour P365 XL blah blah blah. I don't know all that stuff. I don't. Cass says my third eye is open and so are the rest of my chakras. Yeah, that's what she said. Melissa says SIGs are nice. Yeah, the so guy some people don't know the SIG Sauer has become the sidearm of the army now. It used to be the Beretta. Um, what was it? The Beretta M3 or M9, whatever. That used to be the sidearm of the army up until about 2015, 2016 when it got replaced by the SIG Sauer. It was almost it was almost the Glock 9, but Glock refused to give to change the specs on the handgun to the army's conditions qualifications that they wanted. So they lost the contest because there was a contest amongst all the major um, um, all the major weapons developers, and you had Glock, Beretta, Smith and Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Sig Sauer was the only one that met every qualification that the army set out for them to become the sidearm of the army. So the new sidearm of the army is a Sig Sauer P320, I think. I think it's a P320, but it's been redesignated with a military nomenclature. It's now called the M whatever. I don't remember. But SIGs are nice as a for personal carry. Those are very nice. T Man says the UFC is the most brutal. Um, I don't know about that. It's the best known. I don't know if it's the most brutal. Melissa says ropes is more traditional. AMF for respect. Melissa says UFC T Man is all MMA. Yeah, he doesn't understand what I'm saying. Like that's the UFC is MMA. What I'm talking about is Lethway. Lethway is a brutal sport. Um, Even in the UFC, you're not allowed to headbutt, and it's up and it's only within the last 5 years that people started learning how effective the oblique kick and the side kick is, the low side kick. Something we've known in Jeet Kune Do for like the past 50 years that yeah, the oblique or sometimes called the cross stomp because in Savat the oblique is a different sort of kick. But most people when they say oblique, they actually mean the cross stomp. So the cross stomp kick and the low side kick has been effective in JKD and in Kali and in Savat for a long time, and people in the UFC are just catching up. The UFC is really the UFC is always behind in striking skills because the majority of their fighters are mediocre in striking skills. Most of them come either from BJJ or college wrestling, and then they get taught striking en route to competing in MMA, which is why their shitty look is why their fights look so whack. Whereas the one FC one fighting championship is a much superior mixed martial arts competition because most of their fighters come from a striking background. Most of them come from a Muay Thai background, and it shows in the way they fight. And not only that, one FC has multiple different types of competitions. You have it's not UFC is all MMA. One FC is a mixture of different competitions. In one FC, you have Muay Thai, but they wear MMA gloves. So they have Muay Thai, but wearing MMA gloves. They have kickboxing, which Muay Thai and kickboxing aren't the same thing, and I would have to explain why. Um, and they have MMA, and then they have submission grappling. So they have four different competitions, and there's been people like Stamp Fairtax who have three belts out of the four different competitions. I think the only one she doesn't have is I think submission grappling, but she had it in I think she had it in Muay Thai, kickboxing, and in MMA. I think the only one she didn't get a belt yet and was submission grappling. But one FC is much superior to the UFC. They're better strikers, which means the fights are so much better, and they most of them come from Asia, so it's just better. Whereas UFC is just like redneck karate. I'm sorry. Team was like, thank you to Moonlit. But yeah, so that's the difference. Left guys, you'll have uh, you have to check out Leftway. You have to Google it to see the difference. Like I said, it looks similar to Muay Thai. Like if you didn't know anything about Muay Thai, you would think they were the same thing, except like I said, in Muay Thai, we're not allowed to headbutt, and we typically don't fight bare knuckle. There are bare knuckle matches in Muay Thai, but those are usually exhibition fights. Those aren't those typically aren't professional fights. Those are exhibition fights because they stem from the old uh, traditions in Thailand with the Thailand traditional martial arts. So most of all those little Southeast Asian countries they have a they have the combat sport and then they have the traditional art. So just like so in Thailand you have Muay Thai, which is the sport, which is both a national sport and martial art, and then you have the traditional art, which is Muay Muay Baran in Burma, aka Myanmar. They have Lethwei, which is the combat sport and martial art, but then they have a traditional one called Bando. Same thing in Cambodia. They have Kun Kimmer, which is the national sport and martial art. Then there's a Cambodian um, traditional martial art there called I forgot what it's called. Philippines saying well a little bit different. So their national sport is actually modern arnis, which is typically done with the sticks. But in modern arnis, there's also a barehanded style, and there is competition with the modern arnis. But Philippines also has his own kickboxing style as well. Um, and it's They have one this kickboxing, and then there's one that's just boxing, which is called Filipino dirty boxing. But anyway, we are not talking about. Looks like we are not talking about philosophy tonight, are we? It's all good. But I think someone's cooking downstairs. I'm getting hungry. I can smell like a whiff of something, and I'm trying not to eat my last bit of fruit snacks because I gotta order. Like, I haven't gone to the store yet, so I don't want to eat my last bit of fruit snacks. I've been trying. I held out for guys. I held out for 2 solid days not eating my fruit snacks because I've been devouring them like nobody's business for the past 7 days. So Thursday and yesterday, Friday, I held it down for 2 whole days without eating a single fruit snack. I was going to hold it down Saturday as well, but the will is weak. And so we'll see. Um, but yeah, so did I confuse anybody with anything I just said in the past 15 minutes? Whether I'm talking about martial arts, military, the partitioning of India, um, the population decline. I hope Ryan comes back. I appreciate the him keeping me honest here with the with the with the numbers and what's going on with population decline across the country because he's absolutely right that it's happening in every developed country. Like I was saying, it's more pronounced in that one particular country because of their own social engineering fuck ups. It started with a guy's first name who's Mao. I can't say I can't say his whole name, but the social engineering of their one child policy made it that the country with the largest population in the world is suffering one of the most severe population declines now. So now that they don't even have the highest population now. They're number two because their neighbor right next door, India, now supplanted them with 1.4 billion people. But anyway, any other questions with that, guys, or can we get back to philosophy, or should I call it a day? This is awesome pocket knife. It's really heavy duty. I've shown my other everyday carry items on previous live streams and videos too. But like I said, are my those three are my clutch. I'll take everywhere. The pocket knife, the tactical pen, the tactical flashlight. And then like I said, depending on how many pockets I have, because I try not to. I used to walk around with my messenger bag all the time, but I don't like the bulkiness of walking around with my messenger bag because I realized after I got a surprise attack once, and this isn't even in the city, this is in the county. Like, I'm walking home and some kids decide to bum rush me. Messenger bag. No, it's like the Indiana Jones thing. I'll show you. One of the reasons I like it is because I keep a collapsible baton in my satchel. So I keep my little collapsible baton in here. But it's like I don't yeah, I don't do the man purse. It's a sorry, it's a little worn for wear here. But so this like so like it's my Indiana Jones thing. Like when I would go out, especially during the winter, I look like Indiana Jones. I wear a leather bomber jacket. I wear the messenger bag. And I typically have on like khakis and some boots, some Tims. All I need is the fedora, and I would pretty much look like Indiana Jones. Like, Cass is like, share, and subscribe, or drop a super chat. Actually, that's very modern of you, contrarian. Kind of old school, actually. But the funny, because one of my friends saw me after college, he's like, "Oh, you still got the same look?" Because that was my look back in college. Because my messenger bag was my book bag. Because instead of wearing a book bag, I thought I looked more sophisticated wearing my satchel. So I had on my little Indiana Jones type satchel. It wasn't that same bag. I had a black one at the time. It was a black leather satchel. Then another time it was like the X. I had like an Xbox, um, the little Xbox bag. I had that, but then I upgraded it to like a leather satchel. And this one is there's a brown one. I like that one better because it looked more Indiana Jones looking. So then I keep a few other things in my pockets that aren't everyday carry items. Like got this little fidget spinner. Of course, there's a Batman one. Um, and then I keep like a pocket toy. Pause. I don't mean that sort of pocket toy. you know, I've shown these things to you guys before, like a Batman '89 Toy Biz action figure with the retractable belt that you can hook his little batarang onto, and my Return of the Jedi Jedi Luke figure. Um, then I keep my cards clipped on like a little. I use like my little one of my niece's little hair thingies. Put my little cards and ID, and because I stopped, I decided to stop um, using a wallet. A wallet is like a target for getting a pickpocket, especially when I'm overseas. Like I've never been pickpocketed, but I'm well aware of the places where I stayed where it was prevalent. So I just stopped wearing wallets. What I do now have, I still have that same wallet, but now I have it as a dummy wallet. A dummy wallet, guys, is a wallet where you put cards in it that aren't active anymore. Like you can put little expired. Here's what you could put your expired credit cards or debit cards in there, right? Um, don't don't have your signature still on them. Like probably wipe that out or scratch it out, whatever. But you can put your little expired cards in it, and then put like maybe you can put like a few dollars in there, just so if someone decides to pickpocket you, they'll get that and just leave you alone. So I have a dummy wallet when I'm overseas. I don't use my dummy wallet when I'm here in America, but overseas I have that dummy wallet, um, the one I used to use as my real wallet. Whereas my real money will be, um, if I have cash on me, I have it in a money clip. But I usually don't carry that much cash on me. But if I do, I have it in a money clip, and then I'll just have my cards. So, and it makes it more easier to carry around too, because there's less stuff in your pocket, which gives me more space for my weapons and my toys, my fidget spinner, my pocket, my little pocket action figures, and maybe a fruit snack or two. um, and then I might have like a little travel toothbrush. But if you don't think that's nerdy enough, I have a old school pocket protector. I stick there's like a leather one. Like this is the suave pocket protector. Like this is the suave nerd. Like you, this this is for the physicist that gets bitches. Like E equals MC squared to that ass. Let me stop. But yeah, so sorry I had to use some chapstick, but I didn't want to do that on camera because there's too many. You know what the trolls are gonna say. So I also carry my pocket. So like, yeah, I mentioned all my other everyday carry items like my flashlight, stun gun. There's like another good backup flashlight, but it doesn't have that blinding luminosity that my tactical one has. That one can blind you, but the stun gun flashlight, although isn't as bright, it has the well, obviously the stun gun capability, and it also has a siren on it as well, which is good. Um, then, like I said, I'll keep some sort of fixed blade knife on me, like either my karambit or something else. Um, oh, and my the other one I forgot to mention earlier is uh my my little samurai fighting chain, the Manriki Gusari, sometimes also called a Kasari Fundo. Same thing. The Kasari Fundo or Manriki Gusari, basically a chain that has weighted ends. So you hit them with the weighted end. Of course, if you don't know what you're doing, you should probably not do that. But it's a it's a really good melee weapon that was used I think by both samurai and Japanese police during the during the Edo period. Uh, I'm probably gonna go soon. Anyone have any questions or comments? Anything else? If not, I'm gonna get ready to go. Um, Never got to the philosophy, so I might have to change the title of this once I edit this for uploading. Hoping I'm not didn't get demonetized. Oh, and someone asked me to play music early, and I never did. I was supposed to play my lo-fi music, but I got distracted. Um, like I said, I can't play anything lyrical because it'll get uh it'll get demonetized. Um, let's see. Even some of the lo-fi music can get me demonetized because I played the Rivendell Lord of the Rings music, and it got me. I had to I had to take that off because I knew people could hear it because people was like, "Are you watching Lord of the Rings?" I'm like, "No." I was like, "I'm playing the music in the background." So, but yeah, I think that's gonna be a wrap, guys. Didn't get to the philosophy, but there's always tomorrow, or well, later today. So we'll do that then. All right. But thanks everyone for rocking with me. Um, I know I didn't get to the philosophy stuff, but feel free to actually suggest something or ask me something in the comments, and I'll get to it. I apologize. I got completely off track because it's late night, so I'm less focused, which is why you shouldn't study late at night. You should study early during the day for you younger folks watching. Don't wait till night to do it. Okay. But all right guys, I'm gone. Any lasting thoughts, questions, queries, concerns, criticisms? Not, I'm out. A fidget spinner. Uh, Laverne says, have you ever heard of the Freemasons? And there are other societies also. They seem to be all be part of some weird activity, a lot of which is illegal. Cass says, night contrarian. He said, not discussed. I actually, you're not familiar with my content. I literally did a whole live, ask my moderator, Catherine. I literally did a whole live stream on secret societies. So it has been addressed. And free, there's nothing weird about Freemasons. They literally gave their whole initiation ceremony in in well the DC Freemasonry Lodge literally gave their whole initiation ceremony on arts on A&E, like no, it was either Discovery Channel or an A&E like 25 years ago. They they did no, not sorry, not 25 years ago, like about 20 years ago. They did their whole initiation ceremony on Discovery or A&E, one of those two channels. But my father's a Freemason. One of my a few of my friends are Freemasons. There's really nothing that weird about it. It's just a huge international fraternity, a fraternity in which you um are you are expected to be upstand. You have to be an upstanding citizen, um, because they will do a background check, and you have to profess a belief in a higher power. You don't have to be of a specific religion, but depending on the lodge, they may expect you to be particularly Christian. So my friend and my father, both Prince Hall Masons. The Prince Hall Masons is the oldest Freemasonry group in America because they were the only ones sanctioned by the British Freemasons during colonial America. The Prince Hall Masons was actually a freed black man who was given who was given the official approval of the British Freemasons to start a lodge here in America. So the Prince Hall Masons are one of the oldest sanctioned Freemasonry lodges here in America. Laverne says this is what they portray. If you don't know anything about them, how would you know that? Some people like. So here's the thing. This is something I also check out. Do yourself a favor, check out that video, that previous live stream. A lot of secret societies, people think they do all sorts of weird things because for a lot of people to have some, this is I'm talking a little bit psychological here because I do have a background in that. A lot of people believe the worst things about people in fraternities and other secret societies because it makes them feel better about themselves. They have some sort of insider knowledge that no one else has. But but the thing is, most people join those secret societies for the connections that they form. Just like people who go to places like Harvard and Yale the join finishing finishing the little finishing societies or finishing clubs to to gain access to resources. This is why both George Bush and John Kerry joined the Skull and Bone Society of Yale. But there's nothing sinister about the Freemasons. They're just a huge international fraternity that lets anyone join if and only if one, they are an upstanding citizen, two, they profess belief in a higher power, and three, they can abide by the rules of the Freemasons. Now, the Prince Hall Mason Lodge, I know of even more particularly so because of my friends and family in it. And I know the higher in degree you go in the Prince Hall Masonry Society depends on your connection to Christianity. The more you are in touch with your Christian faith, the higher you rise within a Prince Hall Mason. Laverne says they are getting in trouble connected to crime. That's simply not true. Like people who are Freemasons, who like anyone else in general population, will be involved in crime. That doesn't mean that their secret society is a criminal organization. If it was, it would be labeled as one long time ago, particularly by Homeland Security. That would be like calling the Shriners and the Elks criminal organizations. They're similar like fraternal organizations, the Elks and the Shriners. He said hasn't probably hit the city. There's Freemason lodges all over where I live. So yeah, tell that to the feds. Again, everyone in my family is either law enforcement. Every male in my family has either been law enforcement or military. Many of the founding fathers were Freemasons. We see it in our like all of we see Masonic symbology all over DC. And you don't need a Dan Brown novel to tell you that. You see, they're all involved with Sean Combs. Oh yeah, I think you've been sipping on the silly juice. So they're above the law, according to you. I didn't say anyone's above the law. I think you need to go to sleep. I think it's past your bedtime. I never say anyone's above the law. What I said is being that my family all have roots in law enforcement and military, I know that none of these fraternal organizations are labeled as criminal organizations. No, well, let me finish saying what I have to say to him, Kat. Then you can do your due diligence. Oh, dang, you already did it. But yeah, he's simply stupid. He's one of those people that he's probably wearing like a fucking tinfoil hat right now behind a chalkboard with all these little scribblings, like saying, "Look, right here is the Freemasons, and see how this connects to Obama, and from there it connects to Obama, it connects to the Great Pyramid of Giza, and from the Great Pyramid of Giza it connects to the aliens, and from the aliens it connects to the the E. coli in our Chipotle burritos, and from the Chipotle burritos, see it connects back to the Freemasons because they make the meat for the Chipotles." Like this, he's retarded. So yeah, I you can't read one of the biggest lessons in critical thinking skills. Once you learn logic, once you learn how to evaluate arguments, once you learn how to construct rational arguments, once you know all the psychological errors in reasoning and cognitive biases and perceptive biases and all that stuff, the final thing you should learn, which is probably the first thing you should have learned, is reason with those who are reasonable. He was patently unreasonable. He was flooding the chat room with all his little tinfoil hat logic. He He's like, well, that's just because they're all criminals. Like he was probably hunched over, just jerking himself off while he was saying, yeah, this that they all criminals. Uh, 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 like fucking retarded. Like guys, you don't have to like the Freemasons. That's fine, but they're not a criminal organization. Are there some people in their organization who commit crimes? Yeah, because there's people generally in the general population who commits crimes. Duh. But you literally have to be an upstanding citizen to join the Masons. Like they check your background, and you have to profess belief in a higher power, which is one of the reasons why I didn't join because I'm atheist. So it's expensive. Like you have to pay a month. You have to pay monthly dues. um, and it's even a fee for uh, your initiation fee. Like it's expensive. So it's like, do I really need to join? Like, what would be the point? It's sort of like joining Mensa. Like, there's no point in joining Mensa other than to say I have a high IQ. But I literally don't need to join Mensa to tell people, hey, I have a high IQ. Like Mensa is supposed to be for people who, have a IQ of 130 or higher, so they're part of the high IQ society. And there's other societies like Mensa as well. Mensa is the most well known, but it's like outside of that, like, what's the point? Like, yeah, and I know that because I even asked the professor at one point. I was like, do you think I should apply for Mensa? He just looked at me. He scrunched his eye, he scrunched his face. He's like, for what? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I was like, because it's a high IQ society, and he's like, but so what do you do? Like, he was just like, what? It was so matter of fact. He was like, just so what would be the point? So so it's I guess the sort of thing, same thing with any fraternity. Like, if you don't need to join it, fine. But I mean, a lot of people join it not so they can be above the law. They do it because of the social connections. A lot of people join them, especially Greek lettered organizations in college. A lot of people join them either to find friends on campus, because a lot of these people may be from out of state. They don't have any friends, so they can instantly make friends by joining these societies. Or maybe they just want to be more popular with the ladies, and they know being having those Greek letters is going to make them more desirable. And then third is they want the connections that come along with being part of these organizations. And maybe some of these guys who joined the Freemasons, they didn't go to college, or even if they did, they they may have joined a Greek lettered fraternity, but they still want to join the Freemasons because it extends it extends their social their uh their social status. It's a international fraternity that's known anywhere. Like, I can go to the Philippines and find Freemasons there. There will be different lodges, but all the lodges rec- generally recognize each other as a brotherhood. So that's why people join it. It's not because they're criminals or they're into some Diddy type of stuff. I, as far as I know, I don't even know if Diddy is even a Mason. He could be, but I've never heard him mention amongst Prince Hall Masons, that he's a part of the Brotherhood. Like I said, most black people joined black men joined the Prince Hall Masons. There's actually a sister organization to the Prince Hall Freemasons called the Seven Sisters, or Seven Stars, something like that. I think they call it the Seven Stars, something like that. But it's a sister organization to the Prince Hall Freemasons. But anyway, no one's joining up to be a criminal. If anything, you can't be a criminal and join these things. If you, matter of fact, if you are a criminal, you actually are going to have to do a bit of special pleading for why they should still accept you. But yeah, you actually have to be an upstanding citizen to be a Freemason. I know all the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Guys, don't believe that crap. It's 2025. Do your own research. Like I said, the disco- the DC, there's a Masonry lodge in DC that literally showed its an entire initiation ceremony on the Discovery Channel back about somewhere between 20 and 16 years ago. Between 20 and 16 years ago, they did a whole docu series on Discovery Channel showing the steps to becoming a brother, to becoming a Freemason, and at the end they showed the entire initiation ceremony. What kind of secret society will show you their initiation ceremony? We like we've never even seen a mafia initiation ceremony. We only know of it through the leaks from uh FBI informants like Donnie Brasco and others. But we've never like if a place is a criminal organization, they're not gonna be showing people that stuff. And it's like, what kind of criminal organization like has their own T-shirts and stuff? Like, there's no one going around talking about Cosa Nostra or the Syndicate or MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, um, Latin lords. Like, no one's walking around with T-shirts and rings that says that, but the Freemasons have, like, which is even surprised even me, like the fact that they were so open about it. I'm like, damn, y'all got. I knew they had the rings because that's been around for like hundreds and hundreds of years. But I mean, these dudes got like t-shirts and coats and hats now. So yeah. Anyway, that's enough for me. Thanks again, Kat, for holding it down. I'm gone, guys. Take it easy.